Hello, everyone. This is the Dr. Inia Desmia show, and and I'm very happy to be here. Now, a little, just slight changes. Now, because it's really like tips, 10, 12 minutes tips, usually I try to keep it that way. It's just going to be, on a Tuesday. So I'm not going to really put it against time. Just know that, a new episode, as much as possible, I'll do my best to have it, appear on Tuesdays, new episode on Tuesdays. But again, of course, it's on YouTube, as you know, and you can watch it at any point in time. All right. Okay, so welcome to the Dr. Inia Desnia show. And of course, this is a platform where I help SMEs thrive. And if you don't know what an SME is, a small and medium-sized enterprise. Really happy that you're here. I know you could, be doing other things. So thank you for watching this, short, show or tips of, for businesses, right? So platform for tips for businesses, small and medium-sized businesses or enterprises. And so today, my topic, right, another interesting topic is the importance of of separating, certain business expenses. All right, the importance of separating certain business expenses. Now, why do I say certain business expenses? Now, if you're in your business account and you have meals and meals because entertainment is not deductible anymore, of course, it's usually business meals. Just keep records and keep, write what you discuss. So I'm not talking about maybe meals. Of course, you have to document, but I'm highlighting things like legal fees, professional fees. The reason why I'm saying this is because different areas in the tax code allows you to deduct certain business expenses in certain ways. All right. So I'm not really okay. I could even give you an example of trust because trust, depending on how you structure it. But even if we talk about trust, it might maybe drag away a little bit from businesses, but I'll use that as an example. There's certain expenses that are limited, right? And so it is important when you say professional fees, you actually write down there what kind of professional fees. All right. What is this? Is this advisory fees? What kind of professional fees? Because there are limitations on some. All right. Now, let's even go beyond. Look at what is very common in businesses, right? What is very, very common are legal fees, accounting fees, right? I mean, and of course there are other expenses, but the reason why I'm, 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 really focusing on this because a lot of times clients send maybe financials, it's different if the accountant is handling everything. Now clients send financials and there's one line that says legal fees. All right, legal fees. It's very important for you to understand what those legal fees are meant for. All right, what those legal fees are meant for is very important because with that, right, your accountant knows how to treat those legal fees. For example, right, it's important to note that certain legal fees cannot be deducted as an expense. Certain legal fees cannot be deducted as an expense, right? So it's important. And when I say expense, of course, you can either expense or capitalize. I don't want to get so technical, but just know that, when you talk about capitalization, you talk about like the capitalization, meaning that you can spread it over a period of time. I don't want to use words that might be a little bit very technical because this platform is actually for business owners. So it's not really for, I mean, accountants can listen to it, professionals can listen to what I'm saying, but it's all exactly to break it down and make sure that a business owner really understands, right? So I don't want to get so accounting level, high level, but just know that capitalization means that you spread it over a couple of years, right? You cannot take that deduction right off the back. All right. Of course, there are limitations and all those good stuff. But it's important for you, for example, those legal fees. Now, for example, if the legal fees are tied to, for example, maybe defending a title or tied to something that is tied to a property, right? Right. So defending a title, property line, and all those good stuff. Of course, what does the law say? The law talks about when I say law, is tax law. The Internal Revenue Code is the code we use. Again, I'm not an attorney, but with a master's in tax, I have to understand the Internal Revenue Code. And so it actually tells us that there are certain fees, legal fees that can be deducted right off the bat, and there are some that can be capitalized. Now, another mistake people make is that when it comes to um, some expenses, they say miscellaneous expenses, and they put it there like six. I mean, I've seen a large amount under miscellaneous expenses. That is not right. The reason why I'm saying this is because I get it, 200, of course, it depends on how big your business is. Maybe 200 might not be miscellaneous because the size of your business, but it depends on so many factors. But I know that putting $60,000 as a miscellaneous expense can actually lead to an audit, because I just want to say, why can't you properly categorize that 60,000, right? So if you're in the category of saying, or you're a business owner that likes putting a big chunk of expenses under miscellaneous expenses, right? It's important for you to stop doing that. It's important for you to say, okay, this expenses, this is actually what I spent it on, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of business owners know. But if you don't know, a lot don't. Because if you don't know, right? But let me even don't know that, even if an accountant files your return, if anything happens, right? I mean, of course, there are some exceptions, but you are responsible for what is filed on the return. That's why it's important for you to, have an accountant that knows how to navigate and how to file the returns, and in making sure that you're in a platform, you're working with someone that really knows what they are doing. So, but remember, the accountant's hands are tied. If you give them one line as professional fees, and at the end of the day, for example, again, going back to legal fees, because again, that the legal fees they are not supposed to be deducted. All right. And when something is not supposed to be deducted, IRS audits that, for example, those legal fees, and they find out that these particular legal fees are not supposed to be deducted, right? Supposed to be capitalized. What they will do is that they will do a reversal of entry, and then of course, in addition to that, there'll be interest and penalty. So this today's discussion, or tip generally, is that make sure that when you're really writing out those expenses, right, you make sure that you say, okay, these are the expenses that professional fees, explain what those professional fees are, right? Explain what they are. Even accounting fees, what are they? There are certain accounting fees that there's a way that different ways that are treated, depending these fees, depending on what kind of what return you're filing, right? So it's very important. And now, of course, people have different businesses, right? And so it's very important for us to know that, because if you write bulk amounts like that, likely there will be you call for an audit, right? So it's very important that these expenses are actually not grouped together, but explained, right? And sometimes accountants might not ask, but it's a responsibility of the taxpayer to say, oh, these are legal fees. This is what I spent, I spent it on this, I spent it on that, and so this will give this information is what the accountant will use to correctly categorize those expenses. So again, please, desist from writing, um, you know, writing a bulk amount, right? For miscellaneous. And actually, I would say something like that category, miscellaneous expenses, I would say as much as possible, remove everything from there, and you can classify them correctly. All right. So the goal here is, you don't want to attract an audit. And even if you do, you don't want the kind that they would actually find out that some of these expenses were wrongly categorized, and they're not even supposed, should I say, some of these costs were wrongly deducted right? Because remember, when you deduct expenses, right, the more you deduct, of course, what happens, your income or your taxes, because your taxes are based on your net income, right? So I mean, it depends. Even if you're a pass through, it depends. Unless you're a C corp, and at the end of the day, lower income, lower taxes. So you don't want the kind. Let it be that yes, those low taxes very good because the goal is tax avoidance, not tax evasion. You don't want to be in a position that the IRS will come back and say, this is that deduction is incorrect because of what that deduction was tied to, right? So again, I'm using the legal fees as an example. We could look at other, and I use legal fees and I use miscellaneous expenses. So I mean, again, just to highlight two of the items. I mean, and I know I mentioned accounting fees, so it's very important because of treatment of even the accounting fees. Some specific fees can be capitalized, which means spread over a period of time, or deducted. So you want to make sure you're in the clear. And how can you be in the clear? By making sure you provide all necessary information to your accountant. All right. And of course, if you don't have a CPA that is working with you, of course, you can actually um, reach out to my practice. And so that's the website. Of course, that is will navigate and take you to my platform where you can actually sign up for a consultation. All right. Thank you for being here. I hope this has really, added to your knowledge base. Of course, this platform is always for educative, informative purposes, right? It's important to work with a professional. And of course, that to really make your business thrive, you have to be intentional, right? Okay, bye for now. Thanks for being here. See you next time.